Today I stand before you in a nightshirt. Why? Because there's one thing that all hypnotherapists need to get more serious about, and that's sleep. Now, according to sleep expert Dr. Ruben Nyman, there are over 60 million insomniacs out there. Think about that. That's 60 million people who have trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep. That's also 60 million potential clients for you. Sleep deprivation is a big problem in our culture. It impairs memory, it impairs concentration, it impairs attention span, and it drains your energy. It leads to fatigue. If you have an underlying health problem, sleep deprivation is going to make it worse. Now, research is showing that persistent conditions like depression and anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder may actually be a sign of an underlying sleep disorder. Who knew? The biggest issue for most people is really poor quality sleep. They may think it's about quantity of sleep, but it's really the quality of their sleep that's the problem. So if you have a client who doesn't sleep well at night and they're not sleeping well night after night after night, and if they're not waking up feeling refreshed and rested, so they're dragging their sorry butt out of the sack in the morning and they feel like they haven't had enough sleep, if they don't have the energy that they need during the day just to get through, then they're not getting enough sleep either, and it's usually the quality of their sleep. The thing is that if you can fix the quality problem, the quantity problem will take care of itself. It'll sort itself out because the body knows how to heal itself. Okay, so the quantity of sleep will readjust if you take care of the quality. So here are some things to keep in mind. Sleep problems can be caused by physical problems. So drugs can disrupt sleep patterns. Breathing issues like sleep apnea can cause sleep disorders. And also unresolved emotional issues can cause a person to lose sleep. So the best thing in my mind is to first rule out the physical causes if you can first. In most cases, the culprit really is just a busy mind, and that's an inability to turn the mind off. So what happens is at the end of the day, instead of slowing down and winding down and nodding off, in readiness for sleep, the mind is operating like a runaway freight train, and it just continues to just sort of yammer on, yammer on, yammer on. And so instead of letting go of the day and, putting the head down on the pillow and just drifting off into sweet sleep, the person continues to go over the events of the day, and they're worrying and they're fretting and they're planning and they're ruminating over, the things that they didn't get done or the things they need to get done. And then they start worrying and ruminating about whether or not they're going to be able to sleep because these things get compounded. And lack of emotional closure at the end of the day, that just keeps the mind spinning. So all that mind chatter, the person can't shut it off. And this mind chatter is often very chaotic. If you have a client who's really chattery, let's put it that way, if they're really chattery and their mind seems to be spinning in all over the place, check out how their sleep is, because that could be what's going on. And then that would be something you'd want to address. Now, the common profile for a troubled sleeper is that they are either out of touch with their emotions completely, they just don't have a clue in that department, or they don't know how to manage their emotions during the day. So what ends up happening is they have this wrestle at bedtime because they've got all these unmet needs and all these feelings that they've been avoiding all the livelong day and the day before and the day before, and they're stacking up. And they're all struggling for recognition. They're all starting to come to the surface. And so this can keep a person awake at night. The most common emotion that these people are wrestling with at bedtime is anxiety. Now, according to Nyman, the problem really isn't waking up. He says what wakes us up is not what keeps us up. What keeps us up is going to war. That's the problem. It's natural to wake up during the night. Everybody does. Several times often. It's just that many times we don't remember waking up. It's quite common to be waking up, but it's waking up and then not being able to go back to sleep, and it's because the mind gets active and we go to war with not being able to sleep. Once that happens, it's like self-sabotage. And those self-sabotaging behaviors get reinforced and developed over time. So this isn't, it doesn't happen all at once. So some of those behaviors are things like clock watching, looking at another 15 minutes, obsessing over the time, counting the number of hours. So, I've only got 3 more hours, to get to sleep. I've only got 2 more hours. And it's obsessing over time. It keeps the mind active, and the brain waves have to slow down to be able to sleep. So the person is actually keeping themselves awake. Time is the territory of the conscious mind. So guess where they're hanging out? In thinking, which is keeping them awake. You got to be awake to think. Now, some people become really obsessed with physical sensations. So they become really aware of tension in the body, or they become aware of sort of an overall antsy feeling. That anxiety can be felt physically. Or they become hyper aware of that they're too hot or they're too cold. All of which is just compounding the problem, because it's keeping the mind spinning. It's just going around in circles like a hamster on a wheel. And then when the sleep doesn't come, it starts to generate more emotions. So now they start feeling afraid that they won't be able to get to sleep, and they start to feel frustrated because they can't get to sleep, and they start to get angry because it's not fair that they can't sleep. And this is just reinforcing the problem. It's adding more energy to it. The reason sleep is so important to me and you and those of us who are helping people to heal with the mind is that many of the clients who are coming to see us for other issues are going to have sleep issues as well. 6 billion people, right? And they may not even realize it. Sleep affects a person's overall energy. It affects their cognitive abilities, and it affects their emotional state. If you're not able to get to sleep, or you're not getting the quality of sleep that you need, you're going to be tired. You're going to have a level of fatigue, and that's going to make you cranky. It's going to give you a shorter fuse. Every issue that we deal with, every problem that clients bring us, regardless of what it might be, can only be made worse by lack of sleep. And some of the problems that people are coming to see us about are caused by insufficient sleep. For example, weight problems. Sleep deprivation can contribute to or even be a cause of weight problems. Now, think about that. What if you just addressed the sleep problem and the weight problem took care of itself? Wouldn't that be nice? So the body's ability to heal itself is inhibited by sleep deprivation. If you're dealing with a physical problem that the person is trying to heal, then improving their sleep is going to give the body more energy and more time as well to work on those healing functions. Sleep deprivation makes pain worse. In fact, the leading cause of motor vehicle and workplace accidents is, you guessed it, insufficient sleep. So what are you going to do? Well, first, during the intake process, ask your clients about the quality of their sleep. Ask them, how well do you sleep at night? How many nights do you not sleep well? How long has it been a problem if there is a sleep issue? How much energy do you have during the day? Do you get to sleep easily, or does it take you a while? Those sorts of things. Find out about the quality and quantity of sleep that they're getting on a routine basis, so on an ongoing basis. Do they sleep well every night? You want to know that. Do they wake up feeling refreshed, feeling regenerated, feeling rested? Are they waking up feeling fatigued? What kind of energy are they having throughout the day? Do they have enough energy to make it through the day, or are they kind of hitting a wall sometime in the afternoon? Secondly, educate the client about the value of sleep. You can incorporate suggestions into your emerging statements just as you're bringing them up out of hypnosis, and just throw in a few suggestions for 3 things. There's 3 things you want to add. So first of all, deep and restful sleep. So you're allowed to sleep deeply and restfully every night. Secondly, waking up feeling refreshed and feeling rejuvenated and having, and looking forward to the day. And third of all, having plenty of energy to get throughout the day and really feeling good when they get home at the end of the day because they've had this, reservoir of energy to tap into. Now, another sleep expert, Dr. Barry Krakow, says that the clients who come to you for help with insomnia need to understand what the overriding problem is. And the overriding problem is that the brain is just moving too fast for them to be able to sleep. You got to slow the brain function down. And the reason that the brain is so busy is because they don't want to go to sleep. They're not ready to go to sleep because their day's not done yet. They're still working on it. And so they're actually preventing themselves from going to sleep. Now, you can't make a person sleep any more than you can make them relax or make them heal. All you can do is guide them through a process to release the underlying contributing factors. And sleep issues often have unresolved underlying emotions at their root. But there are also behaviors that are feeding into the problem, and there is much that the client can do for themselves to put themselves back in charge and back in control of their sleep routine. And it really needs to start with a client taking responsibility for the quality of their sleep. So get that agreement that they're going to be willing to do what's necessary, because you can't do it for them. You can't make them sleep. You can't follow them home and hit them over the head with a baseball bat. So a really good place for you to start is just to stop the war and stop trying to sleep. You know what try means? Try means fail. Instead of trying to get to sleep, if you're awake, get up and do something to finish the day. That's the underlying problem. They need to understand that what they're dealing with is they've learned to associate not sleeping with the bedroom. That's a problem. They have anchored being awake and being busy and thinking and planning and figuring things out and not sleeping with being in the bed. So the first step is to break that association. So the first step is to get out of bed and go and do something relaxing and pleasurable and enjoyable to relax and slow down, and not to go to bed until they're feeling sleepy again. They just need to change the anchors. You can help them with that, with with imagery and mental rehearsal and that sort of thing. But you got to have that agreement that they're gonna go home and do the homework as well, because they need to change those anchors, and they have to do that for themselves. Bed is for sleeping. That's the rule. Bed is for sleeping, not mental activities like thinking and worrying and planning and looking at the computer and watching television and all of these other things that keep the mind active and they keep it spinning. So if the mind is still active, recognize that, get up, go read a book, something enjoyable, something pleasurable, not something that's going to be too stimulating. Watch a funny movie. Laughter brings on the relaxation response. Anything that's going to help to relax the body, the mind's going to start to relax as well. Playing solitaire, or playing a computer game, or spending some time writing in your journal, or doing a jigsaw puzzle. I have a friend that just loves to do jigsaw puzzles. That's time for herself, and she finds it very relaxing. So some kind of an activity is going to help to slow the mind down. And then as soon as they start to feel sleepy, that's when it's time to go to bed. But they should just forget about trying to sleep. Try means fail. It just adds to the frustration and adds to the anxiety, and it's just not going to help. Now, this is important. They are not to fall asleep on the sofa or in the armchair or anywhere else except in bed. They need to reinstall the association that bed is for sleeping. So this is a learning process again. They've unlearned that bed is for sleeping. These are really simple strategies, and they are completely doable. You will find, though, that many people are going to have some resistance to it. Maybe it's because it seems too simple, or maybe they're just too attached to the old behaviors, but you need to get that agreement because this is doable and it will yield results. And according to Dr. Krakow, you can get significant improvements in as little as a week. If they're consistent on a nightly basis, they'll start to see some changes happening. But like I say, the client's got to be willing, because you're not going to go home with them and, you know, be mom. And that's where you're going to find your biggest challenge. It's just like with weight loss. You can't do it for them. They need to be willing to do their part, to take responsibility for their sleep hygiene. And they need to be willing to create that change for themselves so that they can have what they want. Now, fortunately, even the smallest improvement can be used as proof that change is possible. And just that little bit of hope gets the door open, you know. Once you've taken care of, you know, the problem of an underlying emotion, they will get a completely new lease on life. But if you can start to change the behaviors right up front and get some positive movement in the right direction, you're going to find that you've got a more hopeful client on your hands. And that's going to what's going to kind of give you the ability to do that emotional releasing work. Okay, so that's it for this time. I hope that you found something of value that you can incorporate into your practice with your clients. Start asking them, you know, just when you're doing the intake. So tell me about your sleep. You know, how well do you sleep? How rested do you feel during the day? Just because this is something that you can add into your repertoire to kind of tweak your technique when you're working with clients and get better results. So tell me on the forum, leave a comment. What did you find? How is this going to help you in your sessions? Maybe you've got some clients that you're thinking, oh, maybe that's one of the factors that I need to investigate. Can make a big difference. Okay, so that's it for this time. Remember, it's important that you take care of your sleep hygiene as well. You need to be showing up feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for your clients, and so that you can be on your game, because you need to be thinking sharp and being clear and having lots of energy to get yourself through the day so that you can get those results for your clients as well. Okay, that's it for today. I'll see you again real soon.